Hey man, here's something that most men never truly grasp until they've gone through it a few times. Women will always reveal their feelings through behavior, not words. You can listen to what she says all day long, but if her actions don't align, then she doesn't truly feel it. The irony is that the women who genuinely like you rarely say it outright. They don't confess it directly. They show it in quiet, subtle, often indirect ways that most men miss because they're too busy trying to chase validation instead of observing energy. When a woman truly likes you, she'll communicate it through her presence, through the softness in her voice, the curiosity in her questions, and the consistency in her attention. She won't try to dominate you or make you prove yourself. She'll make space for you because she respects the man you are. And that respect, man, is the purest signal of attraction you'll ever find. A woman who truly likes you will never make you feel like you're auditioning for her approval. She's not testing you for the sake of control. She's observing you out of admiration. You'll notice it in how she looks at you, not with judgment, but with fascination. It's not the same as lust. Lust burns fast and fades quickly, but genuine liking? That's steady, grounded, and rooted in emotional safety. She won't play hot and cold games. She won't disappear just to get your attention. Instead, she'll match your energy. If you're calm, she relaxes. If you're distant, she wanders, not in panic, but in care. She invests, not because she's desperate, but because she respects your energy and doesn't want to lose it. She doesn't need to be convinced, she's already chosen. And the moment you stop performing, you start to see who's actually real. Because the ones who truly like you stay even when you're not trying. See, there's a massive difference between a woman who wants attention and a woman who wants you. The first one thrives on how much effort you give. The second one appreciates the calm energy you bring. The woman who truly likes you won't chase chaos. She'll move toward peace. You'll notice she's not trying to provoke reactions. She's trying to build connection. She doesn't use silence as punishment. She uses communication as clarity. And while most men are used to chasing mixed signals, the real ones, the emotionally mature ones, start to notice how rare it is when a woman actually chooses to understand rather than compete. That's what a genuine woman does. She supports your focus instead of fighting for it. She doesn't need to be the center of your world. She just wants to belong in it. You'll know her not by what she says, but by how peaceful your soul feels when she's around. A woman who truly likes you will also respect your space. That's a massive sign that most men overlook. She won't bombard you with calls or guilt trips when you're focused on your goals. She understands that a man with purpose needs solitude to stay centered. And instead of resenting that, she admires it. She might even quietly root for you while you're not looking, checking your progress, celebrating your wins in silence. Because when a woman genuinely values a man, she's not trying to interrupt his flow, she's trying to fit into it. You'll notice she gives energy instead of taking it. She makes your life simpler, not more confusing. She doesn't make you question yourself. She reminds you of your strength. That's how you know it's real. When her presence brings calm, not conflict. When she adds to your peace, instead of replacing it with anxiety. And here's something deep. A woman who truly likes you doesn't always show it through words of affection. Sometimes she shows it through little sacrifices that seem invisible to others. She adjusts her schedule to see you, even for a few minutes. She remembers details you mentioned weeks ago. She notices your mood shifts without you having to explain them. She becomes emotionally attuned to your energy because she's actually invested, not in what you give her, but in who you are. You'll feel it in how she listens, not to reply, but to understand. That's what separates real connection from manipulation. When she truly likes you, she won't need to perform. She'll simply be herself around you, and she'll love that you allow her to do the same. That authenticity is rare. And once you see it, you'll stop chasing women who only like the idea of you and start valuing the ones who truly feel you. But don't mistake her calm energy for weakness. When a woman truly likes you, she's not clingy, she's consistent. There's a huge difference. She's not desperate for attention. She's intentional with affection. She doesn't try to impress you with drama or competition. She stands out through her stability. Most men miss this because they're addicted to the thrill of the chase. They confuse emotional chaos with passion. But real feminine energy doesn't need to shout to be felt. It moves like water, soft, steady, and impossible to contain. The woman who truly likes you won't pressure you to rush anything. She'll let things unfold naturally because she's confident in the connection. She knows that what's real doesn't require constant reassurance. And that quiet confidence, it's what makes her unforgettable. Now, here's the twist. Women who truly like you are also afraid to lose you, but they don't show it in obvious ways. Instead of begging or demanding attention, they'll do small, subtle things to stay close. They'll initiate tiny conversations just to hear your voice. They'll bring up random topics just to keep your energy around a bit longer. They'll look for excuses to help, support, or check in, not because they're needy, but because they want to stay connected. But the beautiful part is, they do it without ego. Their gestures are humble, almost hidden. You won't always notice them right away, but when you reflect later, you'll realize that's how real affection works. It's quiet, consistent, and selfless. The loudest love isn't always true. Sometimes it's the quiet one that stays long after everyone else leaves. A woman who truly likes you won't compete with your peace. She'll protect it. You'll notice that when you're with her, your nervous system relaxes. You're not walking on eggshells, waiting for her next mood swing. She doesn't create unnecessary problems just to feel alive, because she's not chasing emotional highs. She's seeking emotional safety. She'll match your calm energy, and she'll mirror your tone. You'll feel her quiet presence like an anchor, not a chain. She understands that her role in your life isn't to dominate it, but to harmonize with it. That's what makes her so rare. Her ability to give peace instead of pressure. She's not looking to drain you, she's looking to build with you. And when a woman gives you peace instead of chaos, when she listens instead of argues, when she softens instead of competes, that's when you found something genuine. Because real affection doesn't come with noise, it comes with stillness. Another thing you'll notice is how she handles your absence. A woman who truly likes you won't guilt trip you for being unavailable. She won't accuse you of neglect just because you're focused on your purpose. Instead, she'll use that space to grow herself. She doesn't panic when you take time for yourself because she trusts your energy, and more importantly, she trusts hers. She knows that connection doesn't die in silence, it deepens when both people are secure. You'll never feel manipulated for needing space because she values your solitude as much as your company. That's how emotionally mature women operate. They don't try to cage you, they try to understand you. She knows that men need distance not to disconnect, but to recharge. And when you return, she welcomes you with the same warmth, not resentment. That's when you realize she's not trying to own your time, she's trying to honor it. You'll also see it in the way she responds when you go quiet or distant. Most women, when they sense emotional space, get reactive. They chase, they panic, they start over-communicating out of fear of losing control. But the one who truly likes you, she doesn't fall apart. She doesn't project insecurity onto you. She senses the shift, and instead of accusing you, she adjusts her pace. She gives you breathing room because she respects your emotional rhythm. That's not detachment, that's understanding. She's not withdrawing, she's maintaining balance because she knows that real connection doesn't come from control, it comes from trust. And that kind of emotional maturity is magnetic. It's rare. It's what makes you want to keep her close, not because she demands your attention, but because her silence feels like safety, not punishment. A woman who truly likes you also pays attention to the little things that matter to you, not because she's trying to impress you, but because she cares. You'll notice she remembers how you take your coffee, the kind of music you play when you're thinking, or the look in your eyes when something's bothering you. She doesn't need to ask what's wrong, she senses it. That intuitive connection isn't about manipulation, it's about emotional alignment. When a woman truly likes you, she tunes into your emotional frequency. She starts to understand your unspoken language. She knows when to speak and when to stay quiet, when to challenge you and when to comfort you. And that kind of presence, that emotional awareness, is what separates a woman who just wants your attention from one who genuinely values your energy. You'll feel it in your bones. She's not just with you, she's for you. But here's the most underrated sign of all. A woman who truly likes you doesn't make you doubt her intentions. You never have to decode her actions or second guess her words. Her consistency speaks louder than her emotions. She doesn't say, "I like you," and then disappear when things get real. She shows up, even when it's inconvenient. She doesn't keep you around as an option. She treats you like a priority. Her energy is steady, You don't have to chase her because she's already there. She makes effort look natural, not forced. That's the beauty of genuine feminine interest. It's never performative. She's not doing it for attention or validation. She's doing it because your presence genuinely matters to her. And in a world where most people love for convenience, the woman who loves through effort stands out effortlessly. A woman who truly likes you also won't try to change who you are. She won't criticize your flaws just to feel superior. Instead, she'll see the man beneath the armor. She respects your mission, even when she doesn't fully understand it. She may challenge you, not to control you, but to make you better. That's how you know her intentions are pure. When a woman likes you genuinely, she doesn't compete with your masculinity, she complements it. She knows how to bring out your calm instead of your chaos. She doesn't make you feel like you're not enough. She makes you want to become more. She inspires without demanding. She corrects without belittling. And in that balance lies something beautiful. A connection that feels like peace, not pressure, because real attraction isn't built on control, it's built on mutual respect. Here's another truth. A woman who truly likes you won't try to make you jealous. She doesn't need to. She doesn't seek attention elsewhere because she values what she already has. She doesn't flirt with other men to test your reaction or to boost her ego. She's content in the quiet certainty that she's chosen someone who leads with integrity. And when a woman feels emotionally safe with a man like that, she doesn't play games. She protects the bond. She knows that testing a good man is the fastest way to lose him. So she values your trust like a treasure. You'll see it in her transparency, how open she is about where she's going, what she's doing, and who she's with. Not because she's controlled, but because she respects clarity. That's how you know she's different. She's not trying to create drama, she's trying to build peace. But maybe the most beautiful sign of all, when a woman truly likes you, you'll feel safe to be vulnerable. You won't fear judgment or rejection for showing your emotions. She'll listen, not lecture. She'll hold space for your thoughts, not compete with them. When you're frustrated, she won't add fuel. She'll bring calm. When you doubt yourself, she won't criticize. She'll remind you of who you are. That's rare, because real connection isn't about constant passion or chaos. It's about two people feeling safe in each other's silence. The woman who truly likes you will never weaponize your vulnerability. She'll guard it. She'll make you feel like your emotions aren't weaknesses, but windows into your truth. And that kind of safety, that's the kind of love that doesn't just attract, it transforms. When a woman truly likes you, she begins to mirror your discipline and mindset without even realizing it. She starts waking up earlier, taking her goals more seriously, and holding herself to a higher standard, not because you told her to, but because your energy has quietly elevated her. That's what real masculine influence does. It inspires change without force. She begins to see you as the standard, not the fantasy, not the distraction, but the direction. You'll notice subtle shifts. She starts valuing peace over chaos, stability over attention, patience over impulse. And that's when you realize she's emotionally invested, not just attached. Because a woman who truly likes you doesn't just want to have you, she wants to align with you. She starts protecting your image, respecting your time, and moving like someone who's aware that she's in the presence of a man who values himself. You'll also see it in how she handles conflict. Most women, when they're unsure about you, argue to win. But the woman who genuinely likes you argues to understand. She doesn't throw low blows or bring up the past to hurt you. Instead, she looks for solutions, not battles. She might get emotional, sure, that's her nature, but she'll always circle back with accountability. She values the connection more than her ego. That's a powerful sign of real affection, when a woman can humble herself to preserve peace. You'll notice she won't leave things unresolved overnight. She doesn't weaponize silence, she uses communication to rebuild. Because to her, distance doesn't feel like strength, it feels like loss. And when she truly likes you, the thought of losing your energy is enough for her to soften, apologize, and restore the connection. That emotional maturity is rare, and it's exactly what makes her irreplaceable. The woman who truly likes you won't need constant validation. Your energy is enough. She doesn't need you to text her every hour or compliment her endlessly to feel secure. Why? Because she feels seen, even in your silence. She understands that a real man shows care through consistency, not over communication. So she doesn't panic when you're busy, and she doesn't take distance personally. Instead, she appreciates that your focus has purpose, and that kind of trust only comes from emotional grounding. You'll realize something powerful here. When a woman genuinely likes you, she relaxes into your leadership. She doesn't resist it, she welcomes it, because deep down, every feminine woman craves a man whose energy feels safe, steady, and unshakable. And when she finds that, she won't need to chase, she'll simply rest in it. That's what real feminine admiration looks like. Surrender through peace, not pressure. And here's something few men notice. When a woman truly likes you, her ego starts to fade. You'll see her doing things that her pride normally wouldn't allow. She'll text first, she'll initiate plans, she'll drop her guard, even if it scares her, not because she's weak, but because her emotions have overpowered her logic. She may even become a little nervous around you, fumbling words, smiling too much, or over-explaining herself, because she's subconsciously afraid of saying something wrong that might turn you off. That vulnerability is a gift. It's her way of saying, you matter. And if you pay attention, you'll see that her softening isn't manipulation, it's surrender. Women don't lower their walls for men they don't trust. So when she lets you see the real her, the emotional, imperfect, unfiltered side, understand that she's not testing you, she's trusting you. Another unmistakable sign, her body language changes. When a woman truly likes you, it's written all over her, even when she tries to hide it. She faces you fully when you talk. Her eyes linger longer than usual, and her laughter becomes more genuine. She mirrors your movements without realizing it, leaning in when you do, touching her hair, playing with objects nervously. Her tone softens around you, her voice gets lighter, and her presence feels warmer. She starts finding small excuses to be close, brushing past you, sharing something on her phone, fixing your collar. These are not conscious acts, they're instinctual responses. A woman's body reveals what her words try to hide. That's why most men who chase words miss what the body already confessed. Pay attention to the energy, because attraction isn't always spoken. Sometimes it's felt in silence. But what truly separates a woman who likes you from one who doesn't is her willingness to stay consistent, even when things get hard. The ones who only wanted attention disappear the second you stop entertaining them. But the ones who truly care, they show up even when it's inconvenient. They check in when you're quiet. They give reassurance when you're distant. They don't need perfection. They need connection. That's when you realize genuine women don't fall for your looks, your money, or your words. They fall for your stability, your ability to remain calm under pressure, your way of bringing peace into their chaos. That's why she keeps coming back, because your presence reminds her of something she didn't even know she craved: safety. And once a woman feels safe with you emotionally, physically, and mentally, you'll notice she stops performing. She becomes her truest self. At this point, her actions will begin to shift in ways that surprise you. She starts taking initiative in the relationship. She plans things, remembers details, and invests in your interests. You'll notice she starts doing small, nurturing gestures, cooking for you, bringing you coffee, checking on you when you're stressed. She's not doing these things to impress. She's doing them to express. It's her natural feminine instinct to care for the man who grounds her. A woman's nurturing side only emerges when she feels emotionally safe, not when she's trying to manipulate. So when you see that softness, don't mistake it for weakness. It's her most powerful form of connection. The same woman who acts cold toward the world will become warm and open around a man who makes her feel secure. That's what feminine energy does when it finds something real. It flows. And while most men chase the loud women, the ones with the biggest personalities or the most obvious flirtation, they miss the quiet ones who are genuinely invested. The woman who truly likes you doesn't need to prove her worth through attention. Her calmness speaks for itself. You'll notice that when you're with her, time feels slower. Conversations flow deeper. The silence feels comfortable. She doesn't force chemistry. She lets it unfold. And that naturalness, that ease, that's the true sign of alignment. When two people's energies sync without trying. You don't have to overthink every text or every word because the vibe is pure. That's when you realize connection isn't about intensity, it's about peace. And the woman who truly likes you gives you that peace without even realizing how rare it is. Eventually, her presence begins to speak louder than anything she's ever said. You start to feel it, that she's not there for what you give, but for who you are. She's drawn to your energy, your principles, your stillness. And that's when you begin to understand something deeper about women. They don't fall for men who impress them, they fall for men who ground them. The woman who truly likes you doesn't want to escape her emotions with you. She wants to understand them through you. Around you, she feels calmer, safer, more feminine. You become a mirror through which she rediscovers her softness. That's why she stays, not because of what you say, but because of how you make her feel about herself. That's the invisible bond that no game or strategy can fake. And finally, when a woman truly likes you, you'll know. Not through words, not through grand gestures, but through an undeniable peace that follows her presence. You won't have to question her intentions, decode her behavior, or doubt her loyalty. She'll make it clear without ever announcing it. Her consistency will say, "I'm here." Her patience will say, "I care." And her actions will whisper, "You don't need to chase me. I've already chosen you." That's when everything becomes simple again. No drama, no games, no confusion. Just two people showing up for each other. One with steady masculine leadership, the other with genuine feminine warmth. That's what modern dating has almost forgotten, that the most real connections don't demand effort, they invite peace. And when you find that, never take it for granted, because genuine feminine energy is the rarest thing left in this world. The difference between genuine affection and manipulation often lies in what happens when you stop giving her what she wants. A woman who truly likes you will still stay curious, patient, and kind when your attention fades temporarily. She won't punish you with passive-aggressive silence or try to provoke jealousy. She'll wait for your rhythm to return, because her care isn't conditional. But the one who is only there for validation, the moment you stop feeding her ego, she'll vanish, or worse, she'll turn cold. That's how you separate the real from the counterfeit. Real interest doesn't crumble under distance, it deepens through it. The fakes need constant emotional feeding, because their attraction isn't built on who you are, it's built on how you make them feel about themselves. And when that source dries up, they have nothing left to give. That's why it's so important to observe, not chase. Women reveal their truth, not when you give them everything, but when you give them nothing. If you want to know whether her affection is real, look at how she reacts when you disappoint her. Not every moment will go her way. You'll say no, you'll set boundaries, you'll prioritize yourself, and in those moments, her mask will slip. A woman who genuinely likes you might feel hurt, but she won't turn cruel. She won't try to guilt trip you or shame you into compliance. She'll process her emotions, and eventually she'll understand your reasoning, because she values the connection more than control. But the one who only likes the idea of you, she'll withdraw warmth instantly. She'll start to compete, play mind games, or talk to others to regain power. That's not love, that's ego maintenance. The real test of her feelings isn't how she acts when you give her attention, it's how she acts when you reclaim it. The feminine energy that is truly aligned with you won't be threatened by your independence. In fact, she'll admire it. She'll recognize that your solitude, your focus, your emotional self-control, those are the very qualities that drew her to you in the first place. She'll respect that your world doesn't revolve around her, because deep down, she knows it shouldn't. That's what differentiates the woman who likes you from the one who just wants to own you. The one who likes you wants to walk beside you. The one who wants to own you will try to slow you down, drain your energy, or guilt you for evolving. Real feminine connection flourishes in admiration, not control. And once you experience that dynamic, a woman who roots for you without trying to rewrite you, every form of emotional manipulation will feel like noise. You'll start craving peace instead of passion, consistency instead of intensity, and partnership instead of possession. What's ironic is that many men have been trained to ignore this distinction. They've been conditioned to chase emotional highs, the drama, the mystery, the challenge, and to call it love. But that's not connection, that's addiction. The reason men keep ending up with the wrong women isn't because good women don't exist, it's because they confuse excitement for depth. The woman who plays games feels thrilling because she keeps your nervous system on edge, while the woman who truly cares feels calm, and calm often gets mistaken for boring. But in truth, calm is where love lives. Calm is where peace, trust, and respect grow. And the men who learn this lesson stop chasing adrenaline and start valuing alignment. They stop reacting to manipulation and start rewarding emotional maturity. Because once you taste the peace that comes from being with someone who doesn't drain you, you'll never tolerate chaos disguised as passion again. And that's where you truly begin to evolve as a man, when you stop needing validation from women altogether. Because when your self-worth no longer depends on her approval, the entire dynamic changes. You're no longer seduced by flattery or fooled by emotional theatrics. You begin to see through the patterns, the compliments that lead to compliance, the tears that follow boundaries, the distance that provokes reaction. You no longer respond to emotional bait. You stay grounded, and through that silence, you reveal something powerful: your ability to choose peace over ego. The moment a woman realizes her manipulation doesn't move you, her respect either deepens or her interest dies, and both outcomes serve you. The real ones stay, the shallow ones scatter. Because a man who isn't emotionally controllable forces every woman around him to reveal who she truly is. When you stop reacting, something profound happens inside her. She begins to feel the weight of her own energy for the first time. A woman who used to control the rhythm of your emotions suddenly finds herself dancing in silence. That's when the illusions start to crack. The man she once thought she could manipulate effortlessly now stands before her, unmoved, unreadable, and calm. She used to thrive on your need for her attention. Every text, every emotional reaction fed her ego. But now, you've taken back that power. You've become centered, self-contained. And that calmness doesn't just confuse her, it awakens her. Because your silence forces her to see herself without the mirror of your validation. She begins to question her choices, her behavior, her worth. And that's when guilt starts to grow. Not because you punished her, but because your absence reflected her truth louder than your presence ever could. A woman who truly liked you, but didn't realize your value at first, will start to feel a shift in her emotions once your energy is gone. At first, she'll act unbothered. She'll post, she'll distract herself, she'll project indifference, but the silence will echo. Because the energy she once absorbed daily, your focus, your warmth, your protection, now belongs to no one, and that vacuum haunts her. Slowly, her mind starts replaying moments she ignored, the messages she left unread, the small kindnesses she dismissed, the consistency she took for granted. Now, every little act she overlooked begins to weigh heavily on her. She'll start to understand something most women never admit, that it's not a man's words they miss, it's his energy. That grounded presence that made her feel secure without even realizing it. And once that realization hits, she starts to spiral. But here's the real beauty of it. Your silence doesn't just hurt her, it transforms you. Because in detachment, you find yourself again. You remember how much power you gave away by over-explaining, over-giving, and over-chasing. You begin to realize that your strength was never in trying to win her back. It was in not needing to. The energy you used to pour into decoding her moods, you now redirect into building your mission. The validation you sought from her approval becomes replaced with the pride of discipline. That's when the dynamic reverses completely. You're no longer orbiting around her emotions, she's now orbiting around your absence. She starts to notice that the man she thought was dependent on her has become the man she can't stop thinking about. And the silence you once thought was empty becomes the loudest message she's ever heard. What she doesn't realize is that emotional detachment from a man isn't about anger or revenge, it's about balance. You've simply stopped investing where the return was emotional confusion. You've stopped feeding energy into a connection that drained more than it gave. And the moment you do that, you re-establish your natural masculine polarity. Because real masculinity doesn't chase chaos, it creates order. And that order is what a woman craves deep down, even if she resists it. She might test you, she might provoke you, she might try to pull reactions, but when you don't give in, she begins to feel something she didn't expect: attraction rooted in respect. Your silence becomes a mirror to her instability. It shows her how much noise she's been living with, and when faced with your calm, her chaos starts to feel heavy. She'll either rise to your level or retreat to the comfort of her drama. It's in this space, this uncomfortable silence, that women often realize what they've lost. Because while most men would beg, plead, or argue, you chose something far more powerful: nothing. You didn't fight for closure. You didn't try to prove your worth. You let time do what emotion couldn't, and that's what truly gets to her. She expected you to chase. She prepared for an argument. She rehearsed her defenses, but instead, she was met with silence. That unpredictability shatters her control. For the first time, she's no longer the one dictating the emotional tempo you are. And as days pass, her perception begins to shift. The man she once thought was replaceable now feels irreplaceable, not because he begged, but because he didn't. That's when she starts replaying the relationship like a film. Only now, she's no longer the director. She's the one watching the story of her own mistake. And here's the irony. Your silence will teach her more than your words ever could. Because words can be debated, denied, twisted. But silence? It's undeniable. It lingers in her mind, echoing in the quiet moments when she's alone. It forces her to confront feelings she's been avoiding. Every time she checks her phone and doesn't see your name, a wave of regret washes over her. Not because of the attention she's missing, but because of the peace she realizes she destroyed. You see, when a woman loses a man who truly cared but refused to be disrespected, she doesn't just lose affection, she loses stability. And that realization doesn't hit all at once. It comes slowly, like guilt creeping into her soul. Because deep down she knows, she pushed away something real for something temporary. By the time she starts to understand what she's done, you've already outgrown the version of yourself that wanted her back. That's the part that truly breaks her. Because when she finally turns around, hoping to find the same man she left, she doesn't recognize you anymore. You're colder, calmer, clearer. You've learned to walk alone without resentment. You've discovered the kind of confidence that doesn't come from attention. It comes from emotional sovereignty. You no longer respond out of need, you respond out of choice. And that shift in energy is magnetic. It's the paradox of attraction. The more you pull away from needing her, the more she starts to need you. But now, it's too late. Because the man she could have had when she played games is no longer waiting to be chosen. He's already chosen himself. When a woman feels that shift, when she senses that you're no longer emotionally available to her, it breaks her illusion of control. She might try to reach out casually, pretending she just wanted to check in. She might drop subtle hints, post things designed to get your attention, or use mutual friends to spark contact. But deep down she knows, the dynamic has changed. You're not chasing anymore. You're observing. You're grounded in silence. And your silence, once a weapon of defense, has now become your greatest strength. It's what makes her restless at night, wondering who else gets your calm energy now. It's what makes her check your profile in secret. She's not just missing you, she's haunted by the man she could have loved if she'd valued you sooner. The truth is, silence doesn't just make her miss you. It exposes her. It separates what was real from what was manipulation. Because if her connection to you was based on ego, she'll move on quickly. But if it was rooted in something deeper, she'll struggle. You'll start noticing it, the subtle reappearances, the random messages, the excuses to reconnect. But what she doesn't realize is that she's no longer dealing with the same man. You've evolved beyond needing reassurance from her attention. You've learned that the only validation that matters is the one that comes from your own peace. And that's self-possession. That's the kind of energy that women can't forget because it's rare. Most men beg to be chosen. But a man who chooses silence over validation, he becomes unforgettable. So remember this, your silence isn't emptiness, it's a statement. It's proof that you no longer negotiate your worth. The woman who truly likes you will feel it as safety. The woman who only wanted control will feel it as punishment. Either way, your calmness reveals the truth. Because at the end of every emotional game, the man who wins isn't the loudest, it's the one who walks away without resentment. The one who doesn't need revenge, the one who finds peace in knowing he gave his best, and when it wasn't valued, he let go with grace. That's what separates boys from men, the ability to let silence speak where words once begged. And when you master that, you'll see how the whole game changes, because in a world full of noise, a calm man is the loudest reminder of what she'll never find again. Over time, something begins to shift deep within her, a silent ache that no distraction can drown. The people around her will tell her she did the right thing, that it's his loss, that she'll find someone better, but when the lights go out and the noise fades, she feels the emptiness creeping in. Because the truth she refused to face hits her hardest in quiet moments. She didn't just lose a man, she lost a presence. That grounding, protective energy that used to steady her chaos is gone. The jokes don't feel as funny, the dates don't feel as exciting, and the nights don't feel as peaceful. She scrolls through her phone, half tempted to reach out, but pride stops her, and that pride becomes her prison. Because now, every memory of you, your voice, your stillness, your calm, reminds her of a version of herself that only existed when you were around. She'll start trying to replicate that feeling with others, but nothing fits. The conversations feel surface level, the attraction feels empty. She'll meet men who say the right things, but don't make her feel anything real. Because what she misses isn't your attention, it's your energy. The way you looked at her like you saw through her walls. The way your silence didn't feel like punishment, but peace. The way your presence made her feel seen without her having to perform. And that's something no one else can recreate, because that wasn't chemistry, it was alignment. And alignment doesn't die when contact ends, it lingers in the soul. That's why even months later, she'll feel a sudden wave of sadness when your name crosses her mind. Not because she wants to restart, but because she realizes she'll never find that level of emotional safety again. Here's what most men don't realize. A woman doesn't regret leaving you immediately. She regrets it gradually. First comes indifference. She feels empowered, free, confident. Then comes curiosity. She checks your profile, wondering if you've moved on. Then comes confusion. She can't understand why she still thinks about you even after so long. And finally comes regret. The moment she sees you thriving without her, calm and unbothered, surrounded by peace instead of pain. That's when it truly hits her. She was never the reason you were whole. You were whole before she arrived, and you remained whole after she left. That realization dismantles her pride, because she thought walking away would make you chase. Instead, it made you rise. She thought silence meant weakness. Instead, it became your most powerful response. And that contrast is what destroys her illusion. The more she sees you grounded, focused, and detached, the more she understands what she lost. She'll start remembering how you never raised your voice, how you led with logic when she reacted emotionally, how you gave her peace instead of chaos. And that's when the internal conflict begins. Because deep down, women know peace like that doesn't come twice. She may try to convince herself that you were too distant, too serious, too calm, but every night, her subconscious tells a different story. Her dreams replay the moments she ignored. Her mind replays the stability she once felt. That's why, even when she's with someone new, she'll find herself comparing. Not consciously, but emotionally. The man she's with now might make her laugh louder, but you made her feel safer. And that safety is what her heart still craves. What she doesn't realize is that by losing you, she forced you to become everything she couldn't handle. A man at peace with solitude, because detachment refines you. You start seeing relationships differently. You stop needing them to define your worth. You begin to understand that love isn't proven through persistence, it's proven through presence and sometimes absence. You stop trying to convince women to value you, and instead you build a life that demands respect without words. You work on your body, your goals, your spirit. You find meaning outside of emotion. And the man who emerges from that silence, he's dangerous, not because he's heartless, but because he's emotionally independent. You no longer fall for potential. You study patterns. You no longer chase chemistry. You choose peace. And that transformation is something no heartbreak can undo. She, on the other hand, begins to live in the tension between her ego and her emotions. Her ego tells her she was right to walk away. Her emotions whisper that she made the biggest mistake of her life, and that silent war eats at her. Every time she sees your progress, your calm smile, or even hears your name, it stings, because she knows that what once belonged to her no longer does. She used to have exclusive access to your attention, your energy, your time. Now, she's just another memory, and that burns. It's not that she suddenly wants you back out of love, it's that she can't handle being replaced by peace. Because for her, peace feels like rejection, but for you, peace feels like freedom, and that's the exact balance she never understood while she had you. What's poetic about this transformation is that you didn't have to do anything to make her feel it. Your absence did all the work. Because the truth is, people remember how you made them feel, and the woman who once felt seen, safe, and grounded by your presence will always be haunted by the emptiness that followed your departure. She'll meet louder men, wealthier men, funnier men, but none will make her feel the quiet strength that you did. And over time, that realization matures into regret. Not the kind she can easily fix, but the kind that lingers, the kind that makes her wish she'd chosen differently when it mattered. But by then, you'll have moved so far ahead that the version of you she misses will no longer exist. You'll have become something greater, a man who learned that not everyone who touches your soul deserves to stay. Your silence, your restraint, your ability to walk away without resentment, that's what gives you the upper hand in every emotional exchange. Because most people are slaves to reaction, but you've become a master of control. You no longer fight to be understood. You allow time to reveal everything, and it always does. Your detachment becomes her mirror, reflecting everything she ran from. The accountability she avoided, the respect she withheld, the love she sabotaged. And as that mirror grows clearer, she begins to see the truth. She didn't lose you because you were weak. She lost you because you were too strong for her immaturity. That's the quiet revenge of the grounded man. He doesn't need to win an argument. His peace is the victory. His evolution is the closure. The longer you stay silent, the more powerful the shift becomes, because your energy moves differently now. You don't chase, you attract. You don't explain, you observe. You don't react, you decide. And every woman who enters your life from this point forward feels that difference. You carry the calm of a man who's seen emotional chaos and chose peace. You radiate a confidence that can't be faked. It's born from heartbreak, from silence, from learning to love your own company. And ironically, that's what draws people toward you the most. You've become magnetic, not because you're trying to impress, but because you no longer need to. You've turned pain into power, not loud, flashy power, but quiet, unshakable certainty. And that energy is rare. So rare, in fact, that even the woman who lost you will one day wish she could feel it again, even from a distance. So when you catch yourself thinking about her, about what could have been, remember this: your silence already said everything that needed to be said. You didn't lose her, you released her. You didn't fail, you evolved. And while she may spend months or years replaying the what-ifs, you'll be too busy living the what's next. Because peace, once earned, is never traded for chaos again. That's the real ending most men never get to. Not revenge, not reunion, but redemption. The day you stop needing her to understand why she lost you is the day you win the silent war. And somewhere out there, she'll see your glow, feel your absence, and whisper to herself what her pride would never let her say aloud: he was the one who got away.